This is why you should never pre-sell your course. One of my biggest cringes, pet peeves, icks, whatever you want to call it, is creators who push this strategy of pre-selling a course before you've even written it. And in my opinion, it's nearly as bad as people who say things like, you got to try this coffee shop, it hits different. Or let me just speak my truth. Honestly, it's just so annoying. Now, let me first start with why I hate this. And the main reason is because it's really become a get rich quick type tactic by some course creators. And I want you to think about what they're doing here. They're trying to remove a barrier from you buying their $999 course. So what they're saying to you is, because one of the largest objections into getting into this whole thing of course creation is that creating a course, despite what they say, does take some time and effort, especially if you're truly passionate about creating a course that actually changes the lives of your students, in that it teaches them the step-by-step process in how to complete the task that you're wanting to teach them. And if you're truly wanting to do that, which I believe that needs to be your motivation for long-term success as a course creator and an online coach, if your focus is just quick online hack and creating courses with AI tools and Canva, look, you may make a little bit of money, but it's not going to have long-term success. And what these creators do is that they prey on that and they really build on that objection and they look to remove it and say, look, listen here, if you don't want to create a course, let me show you a strategy where you can get a whole heap of revenue and a whole heap of course sales without even creating a course. And then the line comes in, all you need to do is to buy my $999 course, which, surprise, surprise, is already created. So that's the biggest problem with this strategy, is that they're not even doing it themselves. Now, I know that can be really confusing, but what you need to get here is that they just really preying on that motivation that people have from steering away from hard work. So that's why I personally never pre-sell a course and why I completely disagree with that strategy. Now, that's my rant and I won't go on any longer, because what I do want to do now is I do want to break down the other 3 real reasons for why you should move away from this strategy. And you shouldn't just follow the preachers of the get rich quick strategies who are pushing this sell first, create later strategy. And the first thing I want to talk about is that it really undermines the role of a course creator. For me, the role of a course creator and their purpose and their focus should be, as I mentioned earlier, is creating content that their students can implement so that they can actually achieve a goal that they're wanting to achieve, which is what they came to in the first place. Now, if you're really that type of person, so you're really a creator who truly wants to show people a path on how they can get from where they are now to where they want to be, you already need to know that path. Because what a lot of these people will say about selling first and creating later is that they will say, just be vague on your lessons and then get feedback from the students and then create the course accordingly. For me, that's not a course creator or a coach. That's a counselor where you're getting your students to tell you what they need help with. But for me, a course creator should already really have that clear step-by-step process of what they need. Let me give you an example. The first course that I created was in Google Ads, and that's now a 7-figure course for me. And the reason why that course has sold so quickly and the reason for why students have got so much out of it is because I saw a very, very clear need for that type of course. At the time, I was consulting as head of digital to a couple of digital agencies, and I saw a need on 2 parts. The first need that I saw is that small and medium business owners needed another option as opposed to just going to a digital agency in order to build their brand or to get more leads. And what the problem was is that if you had a small or medium-sized business that only had $2,000 or $3,000 or even $5,000 per month for their total marketing budget, the digital agency model didn't really work for them. And the reason for that is because when they would come to the digital agency would have to take 50 to 60% of their total marketing budget off the top in order to cover their operating expenses. And then also those digital agencies needed very large clients, some of who were spending, tens of thousands of dollars a month just in management fees alone, and they would become the priority. So what would happen is the small business would get the juniors, so the marketing interns, or that would be just shipped off to really cheap freelancers overseas. So it wasn't beneficial for the small business. And then the other part of that need that I saw is for actual digital agencies, there was a real lack of highly trained Google Ads professionals. So my first course came out of me seeing that need and going, we need to be able to create a course which small and medium businesses can use in order to take control of their own marketing with Google Ads. And then we also needed to create a course which allowed digital agencies to really fast track the learning of their new staff. So it was a win-win on both parts. But because I saw that clear need, I knew the exact steps of what we needed to teach in order to get someone from knowing nothing or very little about Google Ads to be able to not only create but also optimize highly profitable campaigns. Now that's the example that I saw, and for me, that's the strength in course creation, where through your work experience or your life experience, or it may be a hobby that you've been doing for a long time, you really know the exact process that someone needs to go through in order to be able to do what you do. And for me, that's the power in course creation. So that first point is all about the true power in a course creator comes from them knowing exactly what you need to teach to your students, rather than selling and then trying to put together a course from what you think would be the best for your students. And also a little side note on that as well, is that I also know that the most successful course creators that I've seen, obviously as I'm now a successful course creator myself, I've interacted with other course creators, and the one thing in common that I see with all successful course creators is that their desire is not to get quick sales. Their desire is to truly help their students. And that's that first reason for why I don't like the strategy of selling first and creating later. The second thing, and this is more of a practical thing, is that it takes the focus away from sales. Because once you've created the course, the biggest focus will be for you to create a sales campaign that is going to sell your course. Now, the way that I do that is through creating content, and that's also a way that a lot of other course creators do, is that they go on and give high value, high quality content like we're doing right now, or like I hope I'm doing right now on YouTube. And that can actually take quite a lot of time each week, planning out content, recording content, writing content. And then on top of that, you've then got to work on your sales funnels, your email campaigns, your paid advertising campaigns. So there's a lot of things that you have to do. If you then try to put on top of that, creating a course, especially with a deadline, because you've sold this course and you've got to have this course released in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it will honestly just wear you out. And the reason why I know that is because at one stage, I've done that thing where I'm creating a course, well, I was creating a second course while also trying to market the first course. And to be honest with you, after that 2 months of that process, I was just completely worn out and I couldn't get in front of the camera for another month. That's why I recommend that you have separate windows throughout your year where you're focusing on content and then you're also focusing on course creation. What that then allows you to do is that once you've created your course, you can then focus on creating content which is going to help and support you selling more of your courses. For me, it's a much better strategy rather than selling first and creating later. And then the third thing, and this is a quick one, is that I firmly believe that this cheapens the industry. As I said before, a lot of people who are pushing this strategy, they're really going after just get as many sales as possible, as quick as possible. And for me, that really brings down the value and the worth that course creators are providing to their students. Now, as I said, this is not all course creators, because I've had the benefit of really reaching out and speaking to different course creators, and the successful ones, as I said, are the ones who have that real desire to really teach things that are going to change the lives of their students. So that's once again why I'm really against this whole sell now, create later. And then the fourth and final point that I want to focus on is that people who buy a course, they want to start right now. Your students, the highest level of motivation for them to learn what you can teach them is going to be when they buy the course. Have you ever gone into a shop and you might be buying a new watch, or you might have to get a new phone, whatever the situation is, and you go in all excited to the shop, you pay your money, and then they let you know, we'll deliver that to you in the next month. There is honestly nothing more frustrating than going into a shop, seeing the stock, buying it, and then for them to tell you that, sorry, that's display stock only, and you need to wait a month. That's what you're doing to your students. And the other thing on top of that, it's not only the disappointment of that the student wants to start now, is remember how I said just before, your student's highest motivation for learning is right when they're buying the course and when they're looking for the solution. So once again, a common theme that I'm speaking about today is that for true long-term success, your motivation has to be to truly help people. And I know that with my course sales, is that you generally see as soon as they buy the course, people do the vast majority of the course in that first 1 to 2 weeks after they've committed to purchasing your course. And if you then have to delay that, so people buy the course, but then they can't access it for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or another month, you're actually not doing the best by your students, because in that time, their motivation to learn will be going down really, really sharply. So thank you for joining me. And just before you go, I do want to help you further. And the way that I want to help you further is that if you're looking for a streamlined process in how to create your own course, I want to give you my course creation checklist. And this is a checklist which takes you through all of the individual tasks that you need to complete in order to take your course from the ideas in your head into a really easy to digest and implement course for your students. And as part of that, you also get access to my website planner questionnaire, which takes you through a series of questions so that you can write a high converting website. And then above all of that, you also get an extended 30-day trial with Kajabi, which is the coaching platform that I use and recommend. And if you want to get all of those things, all you need to do is to follow that link in the description below. Once again, thank you for joining me. My name is Aaron Young from 7 Figure Coaching. And if you'd like to stay on YouTube and learn more about how you can put together your first course, I want you to go through and watch this video right here. Once again, thanks for joining me. See you next time.